Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Life Conversations with a Twist. Today's a solo episode. After the holidays, I had all of my podcasts lined up and I was like so excited because I was ahead of the game. And then I had to reschedule some interviews. And so things kind of just got delayed. So this week I had nothing slated. And I was driving to work today and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come on and I want to talk about my why and my experience with hosting women's retreats. And this kind of came up in my head because we just met with I just met with Alicia yesterday, who's my co-host of this retreat. And I know I've had a podcast episodes about it, usually post kind of talking about it, but I kind of wanted to give everyone an update on where we're at with these retreats and to talk about one that's coming up here in April. But also, I really just wanted to come on and talk about what I've learned from these retreats personally. So last night, Alicia and I met because we're working on our next retreat and we're trying to up our game and we're doing all these things, right? It's literally a full-time job, but we love it, and here we are. But after we actually had dinner with two of our retreat attendees. One is a friend of mine who I've known for a very long time. She was our first sign up on our first overnight retreat last April and has always been a supporter and been at all the other events, the retreats that we've hosted since then, and is also coming to our April one. And then another friend of mine, Marcy, who was actually a speaker at our first one, also an attendee of our first one, and was a speaker at our last day retreat. And the four of us have really created this really special bond that I really can't explain it, but it's just one of those group of friends who just gets you, and we have real deep conversations. And, I think a lot of us can relate. We have our friends that we can go have a glass of wine with and we kind of talk shop. And then we have our friends who we talk about our kids because our kids go to school. And then you have your like friends from high school or your long college friends that have always been friends with you. And I feel like every single one of those relationships is very different, all in a good way. We all need different types of friendships. But the friendships that have come out of this retreat and the impact that these retreats have made, not only like in my own personal life, but in their life is something that I can't explain. It's like a little drug inside of me that just fuels my soul and just makes me want to keep doing these retreats. And so I just had a dinner with them last night. It was one of our friends' birthdays, and we had some really great, deep conversations and some realizations that came out of this group of women, and then also the experiences from these retreats. And so I just felt inspired to jump on here today and use my platform to talk about what these retreats have done for me. So if you're new to my podcast world and you haven't even heard me talking about retreats, welcome. I really, there's so much to say about these retreats. I'm just going to back up a minute and tell you kind of how it started. I'm from the events industry. I've been doing events for 20 something years. I love creating really cool experiences. But I have this whole empowerment podcast. I really relate to women who want to invest in their personal development, even in their career and professional development. But this is something that a journey that I've been on. And I'm really love being around women who are in that space as well. And so I had never even been to a retreat. I just was like, this would be so fun to host a retreat, right? Because I've done events and I bring women together and it's going to be all great. And then I have my wonderful friend, Alicia Parks. She is a local photographer here in Sonoma County. Her and I have obviously worked in our professional world, but she's also a very spiritual person. She's a yoga instructor. She's all about eating clean and healthy. And so the two of us have kind of taken both of our worlds and both of our passions and have created this amazing retreat. And it's so funny because when we've planned our first one, which was an overnight last April, we kind of didn't really know what we were expecting. I think we picked a venue that was absolutely stunning. literally the most special place I've been to. It just screams retreats. It's just, there's all the things. The owner's doll, we love that venue. But I think for our first venue, we probably went in a little too deep because it's expensive to host an event like that. You have to bring in food. And, again, we're in the beginning stages, so we have no idea what to expect and who's going to take to and who's going to attend. But we had it was a 2-night overnighter. We had about 6 guests that stayed the night, and then we opened it up for a day retreat during our educational part of the retreat when we had all our speakers. And it was so like being in a room with women who were vulnerable, opened their hearts, opened their minds, um, was we created a very safe and special space for us to really like dig deep. I think we all get caught up in the day-to-day kind of stuff, but to like sit in quiet, to sit with yourself, to sit with these thoughts and ideas about what your life could be, things that hold you back, things in your past that keep showing up and not doing you any good. It was one of the most, I literally get chills every time I think about it because I remember walking away with like, wow, like we just created this space. We just created these bonds, these connections for these women to come together. I'm still so close to every single person that had attended that event. I know that other people are have started working together in different capacities because a lot of our speakers, own their own businesses, they own their own consulting companies, they own their own, different businesses, so they all they get business from it as well. But also just women connecting to other women, right, and creating this space. And it was absolutely so special. If you want to hear more about that specific retreat, you can go back. I don't remember what episode, but I did like a more of a deep dive of what that experience was like. But I remember Alicia and I driving home and being like, we've got to keep doing this. We've got to keep going. We got to do it. So we had planned on doing one in October, another October one at the same location. But unfortunately, I think due to the time of the year, and I'm sure there's a lot of other reasons. I know there's a lot of other reasons, but we didn't get the turnout that we wanted. So we actually ended up pivoting and moving our October retreat to this coming April, which we'll talk about in a minute. So at that point, we're like, well, why don't we just create like day experiences? Let's create and that was the other thing. A lot of women can't get away for 2 nights or get away for 3 days, right? Whether they have a business or they have family or kids or whatnot. So we created a day retreat where we did similar to what we did at the overnight, where we had a bunch of different speakers who leaned into different parts of our lives that could touch people or, things that people wanted to work on. So that was super successful. It was a great way for us to introduce them to the retreat. And by the way, our name is called Empower Your Path Retreat. I like keep calling just retreat, but we have officially named it Empower Your Path Retreat. Because we really know that name can really lean into different things and different aspects of your life. But really, it's all about empowerment and about moving the needle and moving and making you see bigger things for your life and empowering you to make change or empower you to do that thing that you're scared of or to empower you to be more open and empower you to meet new women and connect. So that is the name of our retreat. So more to come. We are redoing our website. We now have social media. It's like literally another business, but it's all great things. So we had 2 full day retreats. We did one in October, one in January. And then again, the plan is moving forward. We will most likely do one of those a quarter and then at least 1 to 2 overnights a year. I know, super ambitious goal. Once we get the things in place to make this a little bit easier, I think it will be great. But we know that this community needs it. We know women need it. And so we are here for it. And here we are. So that in a nutshell is a little bit more about our retreats, kind of what you can expect. Our next overnight retreat at Yokeo Ranch up in Ukiah, which is that beautiful venue I just told you about. That's absolutely stunning and is a place that I never want to leave. Is on April 13th through the 15th. It's a Sunday through Tuesday. I know sometimes it's hard because people have kids. Honestly, finding a perfect date for everyone's schedule is very hard, but we are going to test this dates and see what sticks. So guests will check in on Sunday in the afternoon. We have a lot of really cool activities that are planned for that. I don't want to say too much, but if you're an overnight attendee, there's a lot of really great things in store. And then we'll have our full day retreat on Monday, which we have tickets available for just if you want to come for that Monday day. You can experience the whole day. We have breakfast and we have speakers. We have lunch and we do a little happy hour and wrap up. And again, even if you can't commit to the 2 days, like that's a great way to just come and experience it. Um, you will still get the same impact if you didn't do the overnight. But I'm telling you, if you do the overnight, like spend a little bit more money, find someone to take those kids to school, turn off your out of office and come for a 2-night overnight. I'm telling you, it will literally change your life because it has truly changed my life. So that is my little plug for that. So I definitely encourage you to do that. And then the last day we wrap up. We always do some kind of movement activities and food's provided for you. And literally, it's like an escape. And I know so many women out there who, one, have never been to a retreat, have no idea what to expect, and then two, people are scared about. Opening up, digging deep, finding like the things that really are hard in their life or things that they want to move away from. Um, Everyone has every excuse in the book to not attend these events, and I get it. It's not for everyone. And I finally have accepted the the truth that I see how this retreat can impact people's lives. There's people personally in my life that I know that they need these retreats. They need this experience. They need these connections. But unless you're willing to put in the time and put in the commitment and you're ready to make that change, you're not going to come. So I just know that I'm just going to continue doing what I do. And when you're ready to show up, you'll show up. But if this is something that you're like, kind of interested in this, I want to check it out, I highly encourage you to come. If you want to talk to me more about it, you want to talk to Alicia more about it, please reach out. We are happy to do one-on-ones to, ease the anxiousness or the fears about coming. So again, the next one's April 13th through 15th. You're going to hear us promoting it a lot more and all of the good things. But I want to take a minute and talk about how it has changed my life. Um, I've done a lot of self work. I journal, I've done counseling, I read the self-help books, I get in the room, I have the conversations. I've been doing the work. I've been doing the work for almost 9 years now, I think was when I first read Girl Wash Your Face from Rachel Hollis. And um, an experience like this is something that I had, again, no idea what to expect. But wow, like what an experience. Um, Sitting with yourself in absolute complete quiet, um, visualizing your past, visualizing your future, finding the things in your soul that hold you back, that you didn't think were there or you didn't think were the reasons for things, and digging that out is like life-changing. It has truly opened up my heart, my mind, and just kind of made me a better person, to be honest. Uh, if you know me, I am not really into yoga. I'm not very spiritual. I call it woo-woo, but it's like it's kind of a joke. But one of the things at this retreat, there was two things that I like really walked away with. One, when we did when everyone checked in, we kind of like went around the room and we kind of just talked about like who we were and all those things. And the conversation came up about crying. And I was like, I don't cry. Don't cry. I just don't. For some reason, I'm sure I'm discovering where that comes from. But I'm not a crier. I'm not super emotional. And I cried. I cry, guys. And they were like, you're going to cry by the end of this retreat. And I was like, no, I'm not. But I did. And that was a moment for me that I was like, it felt so good. And I've actually cried since. I've actually sat with myself in quiet and really just let my emotions come to life and just cry. And it feels so good. It's like the weirdest thing. But that was like one big, deep takeaway that I took away from that. The other thing that a lot of the girls like to poke at me about is they were like, "Have you ever hugged a tree before?" And I'm like, "Girls, like this is so hippy dippity. Like I don't know what you're talking about." And they were like, they talked about how like being in nature's grounding, or like laying in the lawn, or hugging a tree, or just like being in the space. And I was like, these girls are crazy. Um, but I hugged a tree, guys. I hugged the damn tree. And it was this beautiful willow tree in their ceremony area at this venue. And it was the last day. And man, it was so rewarding and so, I can't even put into words. So, if you're somebody who's like, I'm not really into those things, those kinds of things are a little weird and make me very uncomfortable. For me too, girls. For me too. But I'm telling you, it was like life changing. Um, and so those are just like a couple of the moments that I truly let my walls down and allowed myself to experience something different. And I learned so much about myself, about my life, and all of the things. And so fast forward to now, kind of like where I'm sitting. One of the other retreats, this past one that we just did in January, we did a spiritual reading. It's called an animal reading, and it was this whole beautiful ceremony with, a gong and like all these beautiful like songs and all these things, right? Again, not a situation I've ever been in, kind of made me a little uncomfortable, but was so empowering. Like we are definitely having this lady back. Her name was Charlotte. She was fantastic. It was just one of those experiences that just allowed you to like get out of your world that we sit in every day and experience something different. And my animal is a dolphin. And so you learn about what that means. And it could be something that, you're like the state you're currently in, or something you're going through, or all of the things. So I am a dolphin. And it was really cool to hear everybody else's animals and like how that affects their lives. So again, we're digging deep, girls. We're digging deep. We also have your regular inspiring speakers that talk about day-to-day health and wellness, talking about how to have healthy habits. We've had people on talking about perimenopause. We've had a stylist on. So there's different, it's not just all spiritual and all about digging deep and doing all the things, but we also have other speakers that speak to different parts of your world, that I know that at least one of these speakers will make you see things a little bit different and give you the tools to move through your life a little bit differently. The other experience, I'm going to try not to get emotional about this one because it hit me. It hit a nerve. One of the activities after the spiritual reading is we had to turn to somebody, and it was someone next to us. I was not sitting next to someone I knew. It was somebody new in my world. And we had to put our hands out, and I had to put my hand on her heart, and she had to put her hand on my heart. And we had to sit there in absolute, complete quiet for a minute and just stare at each other, just like not saying a word, just looking into their eyes. And man, that exercise was so powerful. It was um it was one of those things that was so intimate that I realized like that I haven't been that intimate with someone in so long, even my own husband, right? Like it was it really opened my eyes to wanting to be more intimate just in general, one with my husband, but with my kids and with the relationships that I'm in. And man, some of these experiences are just something I've never thought that I would be in. But hearing these women's stories, hearing the struggles that they're going through, you're going to be like, hi, me too. Like, we're all not going through this alone. Talk about this all the time on this podcast about how women are going through things and they don't see that there's others going through it because we don't talk about it. We don't bring it to attention. Nobody wants to talk about fertility issues or mental health issues or relationship issues. Like, we bottle it in because we don't want to talk about it. But when you can get into a room or a space with women who have been through it or are going through it, the power of connecting, the power of knowing you're not in it alone is something that is invaluable and will literally move the needle in your life. And I saw that happen at every single one of these retreats. These women opened up, they cried, they talked about the things that were hard, they talked about the things they fear, they talk about the things that hold them back. And man, when you can get into a space like that, the power that we can like create together to move the needle in all of our lives is our why of why we're doing this retreat. We will continue to do this retreat. We will continue to bring these women together. We will continue to hold them accountable. We will continue to create space for them. We will continue to check on them and encourage them to try new things and to meet new people and to do the things in their life that truly bring them joy. And I just, I, um, I am in a space right now where I'm trying to like figure out where I want to lean my time, my energy. I struggle between my career and what I'm really good at about connecting and helping businesses grow through building relationships is something that I'm super passionate about, and everyone knows me for that. And I love doing that. And then I also love this work over here in the retreat world and my podcast world. And I feel like I have to pick both to like really truly lean into it. So I have this like battle of like trying to figure out um, what to lean into. So, but then I love it all and I want to figure out how to do it all and I will continue to do it. So, I just was feeling very my heart was full after yesterday. There was one other discovery that I want to mention, and this is, me being open and honest. My husband and I are going through counseling because, marriage is not easy. It's not easy having a husband at home right now after having back surgery and raising children, sending one to college, having a 3-year-old who is just very needy, running 2 businesses, running a podcast. There's a lot of weight. That I personally carry and things that he's going through. And so we are taking the time and investment to work through these things. And, we have good weeks and we have bad weeks. And last week, we kind of hit a wall. And I finally I'm still working on it. So this is like all new to me, but I finally opened up and really identified the thing that's holding me back from moving forward, and holding me back from putting the work in, holding me back from being the best wife that I can be. And that did not come easy. And I can tell you 100% it came from these retreats and being in places where I'm able to open up, to dig, to see the things that hold me back or make me the way that I am, good or bad. And I was able to talk about something that has been really hard for me, but it was also a discovery of what's holding me back. And again, these are things like if you're not willing to put in the time to work on your relationships, again, to work on your life, to make it a better place, like going and working on my marriage is something very important to me. And I have to be willing to put the work in, just as like you should be willing to put the retreat or to do the work to go to a retreat or to go into spaces like this. But it really allowed me to um, have some self-discovery and have the courage and to face the fears and to face the hard and have those hard conversations. It is truly changing my life. And so I really encourage anybody who is maybe even a little remote interested to come to check it out. Our day retreats, again, are very inexpensive and it includes so much. And I promise you, you're going to walk away and be like, I would have paid more for that experience. Same with with our overnight retreats. We do payment plans. So if you want to break it up, we've opened up that option as well, but I would love to see you there. I'm here for you. I will continue to show up and have these conversations. I think it's super important. I think it's super important for me in my role and as a podcaster to be open and to be willing to share some of the experiences of my own and just in my own life to encourage you to do the same. So, I hope this episode resonated. I had absolutely zero notes. I'm just coming and winging it, talking from my heart, talking from my soul. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope to see you at the next retreat. If you are somebody who's not maybe interested, but you know someone else in your life that is, I highly encourage you to send this to them, send them this episode, send them to the link to our website to book tickets or to learn more about the retreat. We have the dates, we have the location, and we have about half of our speakers. So stay tuned for our speakers. Again, those, I think when you hear the topics or you hear the conversations that we're going to have, that will also encourage you to be there. But even if you didn't, honestly, like I have someone who she doesn't even know, she doesn't watch anything. She doesn't want to know who our speakers are. She goes and is completely blind and wants to just like dive into the experience. And I love that. So if you're one of those, you can do that too. So again, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful week and take care of yourself. And I will see y'all next week.